All right. Well, we welcome you into the first episode of the Senior Circuit Online. We are all back home for spring break alongside Kaijin Agabas, Nicholas Monty, Wyatt Ballmeyer. Avery Wama may be joining us at some point, but gentlemen,
We don't
we
know.
haven't talked in a couple of weeks. Obviously, a lot has happened with our teams, all of our teams going in drastically different directions. I want to start with Nicholas Monty and the Arizona Diamondbacks, where Saturday night against the Washington Nationals, Brandon Pfaadt allowed 9 earned runs without recording an out. Nick, what the hell is going on in Arizona?
So the one of the big phrases in baseball is that good teams find ways to win when they're playing bad. The Diamondbacks currently, and Saturday doesn't apply to this. The Diamondbacks are currently finding ways to lose games that they should win. I put out a tweet 4 days ago that if the Diamondbacks were undefeated in games where they scored 11 or more runs, had a 4 run lead, or had a pitcher throw a quality start, they would be 36-19. This was 4 days ago. I think now we would be 38-23 or something like that in that ballpark. Like you're bound to lose some of those games, especially the quality starts. The Diamondbacks this year already have lost 6 games in which a pitcher has thrown a quality start. They're 1-3 in games that they score 11 or more runs. We are 0-4 when we score more than 3 runs in the first inning. Like, these are just games that the team should not be losing. I don't know if it's a managerial problem. I don't know if it's a player problem. It's likely a mix of just everything on top of bad luck. But that's about the breakdown there. This team's finding ways to lose games that they shouldn't be losing.
Now, from my perspective, this is obviously a really talented team. I picked them to have the second best record in the National League. And I think what's been very surprising is it hasn't really been the offense, it's been the pitching that's been bad for this team. If you look at their starters, their bullpen, obviously missing AJ Puck, J Mars had issues, missed time. But at the same time, like you said, Nick, this team is not finding ways to win games. They're finding ways to lose games. They are snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. And at that point, I just don't understand. After Saturday night, I would have thought that Torey Lovullo would have gotten fired at this point. I mean, this team had sky high expectations, and so far it hasn't worked. I know you said this team has really feasted in July the last couple of years, but at the same time, I mean, look at the division. It's a completely different situation. You have 3 teams in front of you. The wild card is more competitive than ever. I mean, you guys just got swept by the Cardinals, a team that, well, you're fighting for right now in the wild card standings. We'll talk about the Cardinals later, but I just feel like the D-backs are a mess, something that really, I think they need a spark to fire them up. Who knows if that's Torey Lovullo getting fired or not, but whatever's going on right now is not working. The team is good. They're just severely underperforming. And when a team underperforms like that, I think the manager has to be held responsible, even if it isn't necessarily Lovullo's fault.
Well, and I think one of the biggest things too about this Arizona Diamondbacks squad is like take a look at some of the guys that are supposed to be performing at a high rate. I mean, this is a team that absolutely squandered a pitching staff last year that was meant to be one of the best in the league, that was supposed to rival somebody like the Seattle Mariners core with Eduardo Rodriguez coming in, Jordan Montgomery. We obviously know how that season looked for both of them when they came back. It was horrendous. And then, we saw this huge downfall too of players like Zach Gallen, who's typically up for NL Cy Young contention at this point and always usually finishes top 5 in voting. He's been terrible this year. 3-for-7 record, super high ERA too. Plus, taking a look too at guys like Ryan Thompson. He hasn't been, one of the best pitchers either in the bullpen. I think it's the new person you guys called up too. I forget his name. He's actually like Christian Manea, I think is his name.
And
Yeah, he's actually looked pretty solid, has good command. We've also seen stuff too from Justin Martinez, who's not been the shutout closer that we're used to seeing in the National League West. He was shutting down players last year. Instead, that's been Shelby Milner, who is below, I think, two ERA right now.
Jalen
Um,
Beeks.
yeah, I mean, these are there's guys that are stepping up that haven't really done so in the past, and it's kind of surprising to me how much the script has really flipped in Arizona. And again, the bats have been there; they're still high in the run total and actually scoring runners in scoring position. But again, too, going, I think it was what, 2-9 over the last 11 games. That's a tough thing to break out of 9 games, basically back from first place in the National League West for first place, not even holding a wild card spot, and honestly, 5 games out from really competing for one. This is a team that's been looking like it's about to get shut out before the All-Star break of even making a playoff run.
Yeah. And again, like if you look at the Diamondbacks the last couple years, 2023 being the exception, this team always has awful Mays. I can think back to 2018 coming off that wild card berth. We were awful in May, and then we come back and, go crazy in June, July, August, and then fall apart in September. That's just kind of how the team typically goes.
I like the Cubs.
Even we had the September collapse a little bit in 2023, but we managed to squeak by out of it. So the only team that month we could beat was the Cubs. Last year we had the September collapse that cost us the playoff spot. I mean, I'm looking at it. I'm really looking forward to the 7 games and 10 games that we play against the Rockies in August. That's going to be amazing. They're 9-50 now. But we couldn't even sweep the Rockies. The Rockies put up 14 runs on
Yeah,
us.
that's true.
Like, I can guarantee you we'll be the only team to put up 12 runs on the Rockies and lose this year.
No, of course. And also, too, it's tough to look at when you look at your offense: fourth in runs, fourth in OPS, top 10 in batting average, fourth in total bases, and fourth in home runs. But when you take a look at your defense and how poorly the pitching's done, they're bottom 25 in almost every category. And the only one they're not is errors. And even then, they're still in the bottom half of the 15. This D-backs team's been really rough.
Passan Bomb,
Listen,
Jack Caglione is getting called up.
called up. Let's go. Hey,
That team
you
needs
met
that.
him. You met him, right? Royals, first baseman.
Yep.
Yeah. How was he when we saw him in Arizona Fall League, Nick? How good was he, really?
Honestly, it looked like he
How
was
old
still kind of adjusting to the pros. If I recall correctly, he actually did not have that good of a fall league. Let me try and pull up his stats here, but he got into AAA and he just started going crazy, so it
I
doesn't
mean,
really
the
matter.
home runs he's hitting are unreal, man. I mean, they're gonna break Statcast totals.
O'Neill Cruz, man.
Dude, yeah, how about that? 122.9 off the bat over Clemente Wall.
Yeah, so I have his fall league up. He had a 749 OPS in the Arizona Fall League, which for fall league standards is not too
So,
great.
yeah, yeah.
But
Little dicey. But AAA numbers say way different than what the Fall League said, for sure.
100%, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, personally, I think the Arizona Diamondbacks are a team that can battle out. You can't have a top five offense and have a, bottom half pitching core and expect to make a playoff race. However, I think this is a team that can turn it around. I think a lot of it comes down to the trade deadline. I mean, look how well AJ Puck was of an acquisition when you guys got him. I said this too on a different podcast last year when AJ Puck was acquired, but he's a not too many people in the National League West typically see solid off-speed pitching from relievers, and he's a guy that dominates, especially from the lefty spot. I mean, I think AJ Puck being out has been a real has kind of been a dismissal to a lot of the bullpen. It's been kind of sad to watch the bullpen work without him. But I think this is a team once it gets back some of their core pieces in the pitching, in the bullpen and in the starting roles. I think this is a team that can excel. I think a lot of it has to do too with people like Zach Gallen and Merrill stepping up and performing as well as they have been in the last few years.
If Zach Gallen has a 6 ERA the rest of the season, I mean, there's absolutely no chance the Diamondbacks make the playoffs. And I will say what will determine if they make the playoffs or even become competitive is their division record. The Dodgers, Padres, and Giants. Those are the three teams they absolutely have to beat. If they can't have a winning record versus two of those teams, and there's absolutely no chance because of tiebreakers.
And our division record isn't too bad right now. I think we're over 500 actually, and we've only played one series against the Rockies
You are 3 games under 500.
in the division.
Yes.
What, they played the Dodgers twice and they're 500 versus the Dodgers? They're 3-3
We're
or
we're
three and
one
four.
game under. I think we went 3-4 against the Dodgers. We're 2-1 against Rockies, and we're 2-1 against the Giants.
Oh, we're talking. Sorry, I didn't understand. We were talking about division. I thought we were talking about overall record.
So you're if
Apologize.
you're
No,
you're
yeah.
one game below 500 in the division then, because if
Yeah,
you split those two series plus you haven't played the Padres yet
Yeah, we haven't played San Diego yet. We do next weekend, I believe,
in
yeah,
San
for
Diego or
Father's Day.
in Phoenix.
It's in Phoenix.
yeah.
Hmm. You got to win that
Giants,
series. That's a must-win series.
some,
At this point, everything's a must-win for Arizona.
yeah,
I mean, you
I
did
will
lose two or
say,
three to the Pirates. Ugh.
I
and the
will say,
Nationals.
looking at Zach Gallen's Savant page, there is a lot of blue, but his xERA is 4.15.
That's
If
still
he
not
can,
good for Zach
It's still
Gallen.
terrible for what he
yes, but
usually
if he
is.
can pitch 4.15 for the rest of the year, I'll probably take it with how he started.
I
I
wouldn't take that.
honestly would love to see Erod lose his job and get Mena some starting time because he has been absolutely incredible for
Yeah, I
us.
was about to say he's looked lights out from the times I've seen him go in, like twice, 2 or 3 times now.
Because Mena in how many innings he have? In 5 2/3 inning, he has a .93 xERA. He
Which
has
is
a
solid. But again, you can't judge a guy fully based off 5 innings.
no, but I've never seen an xERA that low.
Well, through 5 innings, you should have an X
Five
area.
innings. Oh my God.
There is
I
a
will
lot of
say, go
that
ahead.
is not qualified on his Savant page, I will say.
That's-
Now, Nick, if the D-backs are what, hovering around 500, but they're like 8+ games out of the postseason at the trade deadline, I would have to think this team is going to sell just because of the position they're in. I mean, there are some very movable pieces on this team, a bunch of expiring contracts. Talk about Zach Gallen, but they got like Merrill Kelly, who I believe still has some control. Relievers like Shelby Miller, Jalen Beeks. I mean, I don't think Ketel Marte is getting traded. There's no way in hell that happens, I would say.
No,
It's
But
his
almost
a guy like
done.
contract.
Randall Grichuk, Eugenio Suarez, like there are pieces that can be moved at the deadline.
I
Agreed.
will say, I've kind of been thinking about this. There's three main guys that I believe will get traded if this team's around 500. And that list would be Merrill Kelly, Eugenio Suarez, and um guess
Gallen,
how
he's
to
a
come
free
to
agent at the end of the year.
Yeah, it's
Like,
gotta be
why would you
Gallen.
not
no,
trade
and
him?
I don't think Gallon will
Does he have a no
because
trade clause?
no, I just
No,
we're
it's
not
not
going to get
Gallen.
the value for him. It's not going to be worth it. Merrill right now, honestly, probably has more value. Well, Merrill Kelly's value is in a better position to be
Consistency.
traded right now than Gallon's is. Yes,
Merrill
yeah.
Kelly is somebody you want starting a playoff game. Your game two or game three starter. He's just a consistent pitcher. You know what you're going to get with him.
Yeah.
When he's performed in the playoffs too, he was the entire reason we didn't get swept in the World Series. He went out game two through seven scoreless. Like Merrill has probably outside of honestly Ryan Nelson, Merrill Kelly probably has the most value in our rotation right now.
How many years of control does he have? Because like a
Merrill,
year left.
no, Merrill's a free agent.
Is
All
he?
right, I would say he's definitely getting moved then. If there were to
But
be a trade,
Well, I
but
think it's tough too when you're Arizona. You're a team that's struggling so much on pitching. It's hard to give that away and get something equal or better in return. You know what I
but what are
mean?
the odds of re-signing Merrill Kelly or Zach Gallen? I'd say
Of
Kelly is
course,
more likely due to the hometown discount,
I was about to
but I
say
think
Gallen is the less
Gallen is all
likely.
but gone.
Yeah, I
you
agree.
you also have to remember that Merrill Kelly's 36.
He's
No, of
still going
He
to
has
get a
a really
contract somewhere.
but he's still dealing at
100%.
36. Justin Verlander's still dealing at 41.
But I would
45.
Is he 45?
It's like 45.
I thought he was 41.
He's old.
But I personally would rather them give with how Mena has looked, I would rather them have Mena get a permanent rotation spot going down the line. And even if Burns is healthy and he's fine by the deadline and Ryan Nelson takes that spot, then fine. But I feel like with how this rotation is right now, I almost feel like it's safer to try and get a young guy to go out and explode, kind of like Brandon Pfaadt did down the line and how
That's fair.
Ryan Nelson did last year down the line, than try and prey on Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen. And I'll say this now that we're not on official air, wait for them to get their shit together. Like this team
Speaking
this
of, are
team
we
is
allowed to post?
It's fine. This is going on
it's going on
YouTube or whatever, whatever. It's going somewhere.
Okay.
but this team needs just something to explode, especially if Burns is out long term. Like that's why I've been saying Erod needs to lose his job. Gallon, not quite yet, just because he has a higher ceiling than Erod does. But like Ryan needs to be in there every 5 days. Mena is starting to look like he needs to be in there every 5 days. Like this team needs something young, something sparky, something to get them going,
That's fair.
especially in the rotation.
That's fair. I think the biggest thing for the Diamondbacks is just trying to hop back on the saddle and become that 2023 team again. I think that they're not in the best position pitching wise. I still think that this is one of the best offenses in all of baseball. Stats say it is as well. I just think that we're gonna have to see what's to come with them. I have been saying too since the start of the year, any team that's back by more than 8 games before the All-Star break from first place in the division isn't making a wild card spot. And as of right now, I'm standing by that for the Arizona Diamondbacks unless things turn around.
See, but I still, and even like looking down at who's ahead of us in the wild card race currently, you have the Cardinals, Brewers, and
Oh,
Reds are the
I
three.
have a whole talk about those three teams, but when we get to the NL Central, I'll talk about them.
I think we should get
But,
into the NL Central right now. I think it's a great
but,
time to bring
All
it
right.
up.
Well,
but
I'll go through the
none of those
Central
three
then.
teams care.
Actually, I will go through the Central, then Kai, you can talk about your Giants. But obviously, NL Central, we know it's not the most competitive division, but at the same time, it is the most competitive division.
I,
The
I
Pittsburgh Pirates are the only just non-competitive team in this division. The Pirates, and they still have Paul Skeens. Lost Jared Jones for the season, but Mitch Keller, Bailey Falter, their pitching is not bad. The offense is horrendous, but the Pirates are out of it. They're not making the playoffs. Now, you obviously have the Cubs at the top, 15 games above 500, something I never thought I would ever see. And just, I don't want to talk about the Cubs for 20 minutes, but somehow this team has got the best record in the National League right now. Dodgers just lost, despite missing their two best, arguably their three best pitchers. Justin Steele out for the season. Cho Yamanaga is not throwing a pitch in a month, and their closer Porter Hodge is on the injured list as well. So they're missing their top three pitchers and somehow have pieced together the best record in the National League. They're doing it on offense. This team loves to score, although over this homestand, they scored 7 runs against the Rockies and still swept them. Rockies, they're horrible. And well, they took 2 or 3 from a Reds team that really shot themselves in the foot. And just looking at the NL Central as a whole, I mean, Cubs at the top, 4 game lead over St. Louis, which is probably the most surprising team, if not for the Diamondbacks in all of baseball right now, maybe the Detroit Tigers. But the Cardinals do not have a good team on paper. They were
no.
planning on selling at the deadline. I'm still pretty sure they're going to sell at the deadline with a new GM coming in, Shine Bloom coming in next year, taking things over. I don't think Ali Marmol is a good manager. This team just has their Cardinal devil magic where they somehow find a way to win games, go to the D-backs series, 3 games that the Diamondbacks probably should have all won that got away with some BS magic. I mean, Brendan Donovan is this team's best player. He's got an 870 OPS somehow. Mason Wynn's had a good year.
Victor
Ivan
Scott,
Herrera. Who is Ivan Herrera? This guy is 1,000 OPS out of nowhere.
he's a
Victor
great
Scott, Jordan Walker's playing all right, but this roster is just not great. And it's funny because, Wilson Contreras is this team's best offensive player, and he's been terrible this year. Same with Nolan Arenado. And you'd have to think, come the trade deadline, if this team is not in a position to make the playoffs, even if they are in a position to make the playoffs, I don't know if they're definitely not gonna buy. This team was trying to transition and sort of retool this year. So I don't think they have the assets or they want to trade the assets at the deadline to kind of, speed up this retool. I think it would be stupid to mortgage the future for a season where they aren't supposed to be competitive. I mean, this team has a lot of movable pieces. I mean, you're talking about Nolan Arenado, rumored in so many trades this offseason, never ended up happening. He didn't waive his no trade clause, almost got traded to the Astros. But then you have guys like Eric Fetty, Sonny Gray, Ryan Helsley was in a lot of
even
trade
that
rumors.
too.
Steven Matz. I mean, but you have unsung heroes like Matthew Liberatore having a phenomenal season. Ivan Herrera, Jordan
Miles
Walker's
Nicholas.
bounced back a bit. Miles Michaelis, another tradable piece right there who's played well. So this team really could blow it up at the deadline a la 2021 Cubs, not to the same level, but there's a lot of movable pieces. They literally did nothing in the offseason. All they did was sign Phil Maton He's been good, but this team needs to sell in my mind. They have so many pieces. It's a transition year. They're getting a new GM next year, a new president of operations, probably a new manager. I'd have to think that Skip Schumacher is going to be taking over there, the former Cardinal next year, although he may be interested in the Orioles job as well. But that's a talk for another day. But guys, what do you think of the Cardinals? Because I just think they're very, I think it's fluky. They've been hot. They just lost a series to the Texas Rangers. Thank you, Zach Tarasik. I don't know what to think with this team because I have so much bias as a Cubs fan. It just they're winning in weird ways. They're winning close games. They aren't hitting a lot of home runs. They're kind of just, doing what the Cardinals have always done. They're pesky.
No, for sure. I mean, this this Cardinals team to me has been outstanding in ways that they shouldn't be. That makes sense. They're a top 10 team in runs. I think they rank among like 9 or 8. They're also top 15 too in OPS, top 5 in batting average, and bottom half of the barrel in home runs, 52, which is the 25th lowest. But they're also a team that's been stepping up in the pitching category, third most errors in the league. 12th run, they're 12th in runs allowed. They're a team that is great at keeping runners at bay and not letting them on base. And players have been phenomenal for them on the pitching staff. Sonny Gray, 6-1, 365 ERA, 78 Ks already among his 9 starts. That's a guy who's performing great. Eric Fetty, you mentioned him. He's been great. Matthew Liberatore, I think Miles Mikolas, too. He's been having his resurgence year in a way, from what we remember, I believe, back in 2022, where he was great with the Alexis Diaz closer situation. Stephen Matz battling his way back into the bullpen and been phenomenal. 3-1 record with a sub 2.5 ERA. Kyle Lee, 2.32 ERA on the year too. He's been phenomenal out of the pen. And then Victor Scott, he's another guy too that I look at on this offense that's been phenomenal. 19 RBIs, 2 homers, over I believe his 25 games so far being in the bigs. He's been great. Speed is unmatched. I think he's comparable to Chandler Simpson in a way. But overall, this offensive core is just completely resurging from everything that it shouldn't be. And it's been kind of astonishing to me. You mentioned Brendan Donovan being one of the core players, Alex Burleson, too. He's been phenomenal. These are old players that we kind of considered past their prime in a way with some of the pitching. And so far, they're just performing like their old selves again. This is a comeback.
Cardinal way.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, this is a comeback rotation and a comeback hitting core.
Yeah, it's a little bit hypocritical for me to say considering we got swept by the Cardinals, but
Yeah,
they
thanks for
don't
the
really
help.
scare me. Yeah, they don't really scare me because a lot of those games the Diamondbacks beat themselves, the one game, I think it was the second game, if Alec Thomas makes that sliding catch, we probably win that game. I think it was the last game, we had runners on for the last like 3 innings and scored none of them. Like it, like Wyatt was saying, they're like a really fluky team. I don't. That's why I was like, I'm not going crazy yet over the Diamondback slide. Like all the teams ahead of us, they're not that like good,
I still bet the
honestly.
Diamondbacks will have a better record than the Cardinals. I would still bet that.
I would
100.
bet that too.
I don't know, but they're just the Cubs haven't played them yet. The Cubs don't play until the last week of June, which I think is absolutely insane for that rivalry not to play a game until the last week of June. They have a 4 game series at Busch. I will be in attendance, I believe, for the first 2 games of that series. But big series, who knows if the Cardinals keep this up? They're 4 games back right now, and the team that is running them down is the Milwaukee Brewers. The Brewers just swept the Phillies in Philadelphia. And I don't know what to make of the Brewers because they're very similar to these 3 teams. The Cardinals, Brewers, and Reds are all pretty much the exact same team right now. They're all fighting for second place. Just saw the Reds. They are the definition of inconsistent. They'll score 10 runs one day and get shut out the next. They were shut out, what, 3 straight days in a row, 1-0, which has never been done before. Something like that. Reds are a mess. I don't think they're good enough. They have great pitching, but they're just way too inconsistent. Matt McClain is probably going to get sent to AAA. He's got like a 500 OPS right now. But the Brewers scare me the most because, this is the team that on paper always gets underestimated like the Rays every single year, and they end up winning 95 games. Now, obviously, Willie Adames is gone. He's been horrible in San Francisco. I'm sure you're going to talk about that. Also, I think he's the worst DRS in baseball at shortstop as well. He's like a -6 DRS or something, but that's a conversation for later. Brewers, the offense is not good. Jackson Churio's been terrible. William Contreras, horrible. Yelich, bad. They have won 7 in a row. They're very hot, but I just think they've lost too much. Devin Williams, who's been terrible in New York, but I think losing Willie Adames, he was the core of this team. You look at when this team got good in 2021, it's when they traded for Adames. They just lost Adames this offseason. I think they're too inconsistent. They're very similar to the Reds, where it's just, I don't think it's enough. This is the Cubs division to win. I'm sure you both can agree with it. Kai, you picked them to go to the World Series. That pick doesn't look too bad right now, but just the Cubs should win this division by 10 plus games.
Yeah, I mean, Chicago, you heard what my early season prediction was for this Cubs team.
I
I mean,
even underestimated what you said.
see, and it's hard to look past how good of a team that the Cubs have been so far this year, but also entering the year, they were phenomenal. I mean, they're top 5 in every offensive category that you can think of. Home runs, total bases, average, the whole 9 yards. Defensively and pitching wise, this is kind of a bottom of the barrel team. They're barely after that 15th mark in like position
Bullpen's top 10 in baseball now. Been the
bullpen.
best
However,
since
though,
April 15th.
exactly.
Ever since the Diamondbacks game, the crazy Diamondbacks game in Chicago that Friday. They have the
I
best
agree.
bullpen in baseball.
Yeah, they on paper they're one of the best bullpens in baseball. Also though, the starting pitching hasn't been great. Granted, a lot of it has to do with the early injuries that the Cubs kind of
Everybody
suffered.
is hurt.
Yeah, everybody's hurt. It's like the Dodgers for the people who complain about it on the Dodgers team. It's not like you have 5 more you can go to, but whatever. Anyways, this Cubs offense has been firing on all fronts. Say has been amazing so far this year too. Kyle Tucker has looked like probably the best offseason acquisition after probably no one during this last year's offseason. Swanson's kind of picking things back up. PCA, obviously one of the league
That's
leaders
an
in
MVP candidate right there.
yeah, early MVP candidate. Nico Horner's been phenomenal too, batting over 300. I'm not gonna lie, wasn't expecting that from him. Ian Happ's been solid, kind of under usual batting average
He's
mark
been
that.
hurt. He missed a couple weeks and
Yeah,
then came
he's been
back
back. He's been very
without a
back.
rehab assignment. And
Yeah,
he's been slumping. But
a lot of the credit though,
Ian Happ is Mr. Consistent.
yeah, a lot of credit though. I want to give credit to 2 specific players on this team the most though. One of them being Matthew Boyd, who has looked great this year.
He's our all star. He is our all star.
Great.
It's
I'm
not going to
sorry,
be
sorry if
one,
I messed this
but
up, but through 10 starts, 5-2 record, three and uh about a 3 ERA, has been super consistent over basically already over a career mark in Ks through this part of the season.
he's
He's
a new
been
pitcher.
yeah, he's been phenomenal. I think this team's look great. The other person I want to give a shout out to is Brad Keller, standing
Oh
underneath the
my
2.5
God. Oh.
ERA threshold. It's looked great, man. 30 Ks through how many
Drew
innings?
Pomerantz. Don't forget about Drew Pomerantz. Has not given up a run yet this year.
Yeah, Drew Pomeranz again too. He's been phenomenal. I think this team's bullpen has looked phenomenal.
Daniel
So
Palencia, closer
yeah,
now.
oh, true.
Nasty dude.
I think he's got
Nasty.
a 1.5 ERA, something like that now coming out of the pen. It's
Nasty.
phenomenal. But yeah, overall, I think the one through five hole for Cubs could not be any more complete. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why this team is succeeding. I think it's one of the reasons too, where I'll keep saying it, that they go to the World Series. And I don't know. I think the Cubs will finish the season with over 100 wins and probably the best record in all of baseball.
I mean, I still think the Dodgers are better. But the one thing the Cubs have going for them is they're not playing in the NL West and they're not playing in the NL East. So they're going to get the beat up on these NL Central teams, which helps.
I don't
Now,
know.
I think this team has 4 or 5 All-Stars on it, the way it plays right now. And this team has had 9 All-Stars before. You go back to 2016, 2008.
Yeah.
And I want you guys' opinions on who I think is going to make the All-Star game. I think PCA is a lock to start the All-Star game. He's going to get one of those 3 fan votes. It's going to be a popularity thing. I think the outfield's going to be Carroll, Tatis, and PCA. I think that's pretty much locked in that's going to be the starting outfield in the All-Star game. You agree, Nick? Corbin Carroll, amazing year. He's going to be a starter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've loved
And
the
then go
power
ahead.
surge. Like the power out of Corbin's something that we haven't fully seen out of him yet, and the adjustments he's made to his swing was mostly a health related thing. 2023 he dealt the entire second half of that year with the shoulder issue, kind of lingered in 24. That's why he had the bad start to the year. Now he came back, fixed his swing, and he's hitting the ball harder than he ever has.
I think PCA and Corbin Carroll are very similar players. It's a very similar player comp. PCA is obviously the better defender, but they're just very similar. If you look at their stats and what they've done, they're very similar players. Like, and that's crazy to say. But so yeah, I have PCA starting the All-Star game. I do think Kyle Tucker will be in as a reserve. This dude has been probably our most consistent player all around. Seiya Suzuki, he has the 900 OPS, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, there's two other DHs having better seasons right now. And I do think he can get in. I think the other player I'm about to mention has a higher chance of getting in, and that's Nico Horner. I think he is
Yeah.
going to be the alternate for second base. And the only reason I say that is I don't know if Ketel Marte is qualified because he missed a month. Is Ketel Marte is he qualified?
He should be by
I
July.
don't know. He probably will by then. I don't think he is right now.
But look at
Definitely
Nico
not right now,
Horner.
but by the time All-Star votes come out, I think Cattell's more than qualified.
Because I think Brendan Donovan is going to be the starter. I think he's deserved it right now. He's been the best second baseman in the National League, if not all
Don't
of
forget about
baseball.
fan voting. That's a big thing. Not many
It
people are
is.
like, "Oh, I
And
love Brendan Donovan."
Cubs fans like to vote, which is where I could see maybe Nico Horner sliding in. He's having a career year right now. Best defensive second baseman in baseball by all metrics. He's hitting 300, 700 plus OPS. He's leading all of baseball in hits and runners in scoring position. This dude is Mr. Clutch. It's beautiful. You want Nico Horner up with men on base because he's going to drive him in. He's striking out like 7% of the time, which is pretty much that's like a Luis Arraez number right there. I mean, this dude is just having a career year. I think he deserves to be an all-star. I think this is the year it finally happens. When you're the best team in the National League, you're going to get extra all-stars. That's how
Can I
things
guess
work.
another one of your All-Stars?
Hmm?
I guess another one of your All-Stars you have, Wyatt.
So, yes, go ahead.
Vidal Brujan.
No. Well, he did play because Kyle Tucker got hurt. Tucker
No,
got
I
hurt in
know.
the first inning. He jammed
I
his
will
finger.
say,
He's apparently going to be fine.
I wouldn't be surprised if Chris Palencia made the bullpen rotation in there either.
There's not enough relievers that make the All-Star game. That's the thing. There's not a lot of spots. And I will say, he's not a reliever. On offense, if he keeps it up, I do think he will be an All-Star, and that is Carson Kelly. He's not qualified, but look at what he has done. His numbers are absolutely insane. 950 plus OPS. I think he has the most home runs in all of baseball from the catching position in the National League. Cal Raleigh is in his own league, literally and
Big
figuratively.
Tampa.
But, I think this could be the year Carson Kelly lives up to his potential. Obviously, he has to keep it up. Will Smith is the starting catcher in the All-Star game, but it's crazy. The top three NL hitters are all Dodgers, Betts, Freeman, and surprisingly, Will Smith. But I do think Carson Kelly can make it. He's got to keep it up. He's going to play now since Miguel Amaya got hurt. But I think the final All Star. Oh my God, I can't speak. Could be Matthew Boyd. I know he has meant a lot to the Cubs. Route three ERA, career innings. I mean, this dude has been the definition of consistency. I don't think any Cubs relievers will make it just because it's so difficult to make the All Star game as a reliever. You give that reliever spot to the teams that suck. So you're going to get you're going to get some you're going to get like a Jake Bird from the Rockies. He's going to be their All Star. Like you're going to get some random guys, but I think those are the guys that could be All Stars on the Cubs. This team has the best record in the National League. They're a big market. When they're good, people are going to vote for these Cubs players specifically as starters. I just think I think that's what's going to happen.
Fair enough. And
I think we start talking about the Giants now because we've talked way too much about the Diamondbacks and Cubs.
so good. I'm more than down to talk about the San Francisco Giants right now. How about it? Kind of a rough road stretch for San Francisco. They won two out of the three series that they played. One of them being the only loss came by way of Co-America Ballpark and the Detroit Tigers, the best team in the American League. Giants got swept. Pretty bad. There's a few situations the Giants should have won. Right now, the Giants offense is kind of on a bit of a decline, if you will, and it's a little scary as a Giants fan, I won't lie. However, things looked to be in a little bit of a better shape today against the Marlins. Granted, the Marlins are the Marlins. But overall, the Giants have looked great. If nobody's got me, Wilmer Flores has got me, and it's always torture to watch them play. But the offense overall has been pretty good in runners and scoring position situations. We're actually top five with two outs or less. We tend to bring in a lot of runs too, even though that our offensive score sheet might say otherwise. The Giants have been pretty good pitching overall. We're top five in runs allowed, top four in in top five opponent OPS. We're also top 10 too in batting average. We also have the best, probably one of the best bullpens in the league as things stand. Camilo Duvall is up for
Big
closer.
reason why you've been good.
Agreed. Camilo Duvall is up for closer of the year. We're also top three, also in total bases allowed too, which has kind of kept us in a lot of games. We're also, I believe, we're first in comeback wins by two or more runs so far this season, which has been a big help as well. Giants finishing off 9 games on the road. We picked up 2 series wins. We went 4 for 5. Now we're looking to pick things back up at home tomorrow against the San Diego Padres, a team that we're trying to scrape by and get past for the second place spot in the National League West. Overall, the Giants hitting has been kind of lackluster. No one on the team anymore is batting above 300, and it's a little depressing. But overall, players like Wilmer Flores has been kind of disappointing. However, Wilmer Flores, Jung Ho Lee, Matt Chapman, Luis Matos, even, and Mike Yastrzemski have been kind of core players to watch. And the one position that a lot of us are looking at right now is the first base spot, with Lamonte Wade being the worst qualified hitter in baseball this year. And
Ugh.
it's rough, man. It's rough to watch first base as a Giants fan. However, um, there is hope. Gerhard and Corcion, one of the players we picked up from the Mexican League International Draft from last year, is officially going to be back tomorrow, and it looks like he'll be taking over the first base role from Lamonte Wade. He was originally supposed to enter the season as the DH instead of Wilmer Flores, and they were going to platoon together. However, with how well Wilmer's been producing and how bad Lamonte's been producing, Gerard will get his first start of the season tomorrow at first base. He's a home run hitter and actually has the record for most home runs in the Mexican League in his season. So we'll see what he has to offer for us coming in tomorrow. And overall, I'm excited. This team's looked healthy. There's been no major injuries. The rotation was off to a really bumpy start early on in the season. However, players like Webb, Hayden Birdsong, and Kyle Harrison are kind of hitting their second gear and performing at a high rate. Randy Rodriguez is probably the best reliever, best setup pitcher in baseball right now. Excuse me if maybe I was speaking on that too soon. Tyler Rogers has been great. Ryan Walker has been terrible. But guys like Eric Miller and people in company have been phenomenal this year. And that's all I got to say. Giants,
Nick, what do you think about the D-backs? Excuse me, not the T-backs, the Giants. We already talked about the
I
D-backs.
love them.
D-backs played fairly well against them when we took a trip up there. I think it was what, early May?
Yeah, I was like
We went
May. I
there
think it was
just
like
to
May
a friend.
11th was when the series started. May 12th. Sorry.
Yeah,
Okay,
Torrey
so
got
yeah,
tossed. Epic ejection.
Yeah.
I still think that they still have a little bit of coming down to earth to do. I will start to say that they're already better than I expected they would be, but I still think that they're overplaying themselves a little bit. Like they just don't have that star guy. They like Adamas was supposed to be that, and he just hasn't really been to this point. But if I had to guess, Chapman's probably your guys' war leader this season.
No, it's Jung Ho.
Yeah, Chungo.
Yeah, I mean it's not a team that I think is quite ready. I can see them sneaking into the playoffs, but like they're still a little bit early on
Yeah,
their.
I mean, I think that there's a lot of things to figure out. Granted, the my only rebuttal to when we played you guys back in May was you guys were playing Justin Verlander, who got hurt right after the first game. And then also you guys were playing Jordan Hicks, who also was arguably one of the worst starting pitchers through his first 5 starts this year. And after that, as soon as our bullpen came in, we were basically shut down against you guys. And I think that was a big thing too, was that Justin Verlander, he's kind of hitting that spot at age where he's not performing. Granted, I was a little happy when the Giants signed him. He's been downright terrible since we've gotten him. Robbie Ray's also been one of the craziest pitchers in the league right now. Taking a look at him from the Giants, he's 10-2 in his starts with the San Francisco Giants. On his record, it says 7-1. Also, a sub-3 ERA, has the least amount of runs allowed this year among National League West starting pitchers through his first 10 starts, which was really cool. But overall, Robbie Ray's looking like a Cy Young candidate again. So I've been happy with that. And yeah, I mean, the Giants look like a great team pitching wise. I think the offense needs to figure out some struggles, and we'll see. There's talks of Barry Bonds getting signed on as a hitting coach right as the trade deadline ends. There's also talks too that Rich Aurelio may join it as well. So, see a former Giants alumni could possibly help this team out and really help them hit their stride after the All Star break.
D-backs legend, Robbie Ray.
Well, now he's a Giants.
Now, well, he's been really good. He's going to be an all-star.
I think there's potentially he's an all-star. I do think that his first loss of the season was terrible. It was a 1-0 loss against the Marlins. That
Mm.
was really rough. The Giants offense couldn't get anything going. There was multiple chances to score, which is why I think the offense has been a little lacking. However, I do think that the win today and the home run today after 10 straight games without a home run was what they needed to really dig themselves out of a huge hole. So we'll see.
Now, kind of random, but you guys all saw the Taylor Walls ejection today.
Oh
Absolutely
gosh,
insane.
how
With him
terrible.
tapping his helmet at Nick Lentz and then getting tossed and him screaming. I mean, he says it wasn't intentional. It didn't look
Ah,
intentional. He might have
I
just
don't
been
know.
doing it. But, the league came out and said it's an automatic ejection if you tap your helmet. And he got tossed, and it couldn't have happened in the worst spot because it was the top of the ninth. They were down 1-0.
I
Yeah.
honestly thought it was hilarious. Like
No,
especially like
I did
I
too.
I thought it was like fairly blatant, like what he was doing
Yeah.
in
I
my
I
eyes.
mean,
It's like
I
I
don't
think
know
it's
if it was an accident, man. It's tough to say it was an accident. One thing I want to talk about, how about the Kobe Mayo benches clearing brawl?
Some
How
Bush
about
League
that?
stuff right there. Oh my God, it was
It
Bush League.
was so stupid. Kobe Mayo went out of the base paths. Basically, I forget who was it that he pushed down? I already forgot.
so I
Um,
think it was Lennon Sosa, wasn't it?
Some
yeah,
White Sox.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
it was
was
Lemon Sosa.
he pushed him down after running out of the base path, and then benches cleared after Mayo gave him a push. The bullpens were running out at like a jog, and everybody
Dude,
was like, "What's going on?"
honestly, that's what the D-backs need right now. Like we need to go to Atlanta and just get in a brawl with the Braves.
Yeah,
I
Team will
mean,
go
not like the
undefeated the
Braves
rest
have
of
been
the year.
playing that well.
no, that's true.
They
Yeah,
they got back to 500, but they've kind of just been like hovering around 500. Looks like they're gonna lose AJ Smith Shaver, I believe. Felt
Yeah.
something pop in his elbow. Spencer
yeah. He
Strider's not been good.
How do we feel too about the Chandler Simpson being downgraded to AAA?
Well, it's the Rays, so if they do it, it probably makes sense.
yeah. I don't question the Rays.
I don't question them at
They're,
all. I mean,
yeah,
I mean,
they
personally,
know what they're doing.
thought it was a little crazy. I mean, 280 batting average through his first 10 major league games. 16 stolen bases too on the year already before he left. I thought it was a little rough. Thought it was a little harsh not to keep him in there. I mean, Simpson has been a dog. I mean, there was already 5 MLB posts about him, and within the 15 games that he was called up for.
I did not like playing against him. I will say that he beat up on the Diamondbacks.
He also beat up two pretty bad on the Toronto Blue Jays. I think he stole 4 bases throughout the 2 game series they had with them. It was rough, man. I mean, Chandler Simpson was looking like a dog. It kind of feels like how Esteury Ruiz got treated in Oakland, or as John Miller likes to call them, the Oaklamento A's.
huh.
But yeah, it's been rough for Chandler Simpson, man. I feel like the treatment there was a little unfair.
And again, the Orioles, the Rays front office is just like too well ran. I'm not going to question anything that they do. Some of the moves that they've made lately are crazy.
Yeah. Speaking of, do we want to talk about the Orioles and how rough they've
Oh
been?
my, that's just a
Yeah,
disaster.
but
You
let's
know what?
tell them,
I
let's say
I
how
predicted that.
informed they are.
It's so
I
terrible.
said it. I
I'm
predicted.
not gonna lie.
I
I will
s-
say this. I was completely wrong about how the Orioles were gonna be this year.
I said they were going to finish in last place, and you know what? Right now they are going to finish in last place, and I mean, the pitching's been like putrid, like worst pitching staff in baseball by far. But the
Really bad
offense has
one.
been really disappointing as well. Gunnar Henderson is having a horrible season for his standards. So is Adley Rutschman,
Yeah, it's been rough, man. That offense has not been clicking. Jackson Holiday hit a home run today, though. That was
and
cool.
they
But
lost.
well, yeah, Matt Holiday and his brother Ethan, who is projected to be the first overall pick in this year's upcoming MLB draft were in attendance. Everybody was kind of giving him looks over at Camden. So I thought that was something that was a little cool that both his brother and his dad were there in attendance. But all I'm saying, Ethan Holiday, I really like him. I can't wait for us to make an MLB draft post, by the way, as well, because that's going to be so funny. College
We
baseball
should
right
do a
now.
live. We should do a live watch along with the
I'm so
draft.
down. Also, guys, I know that this is mostly National League stuff. We don't have to speak about collegiate stuff so much, but all of us being ASU alumni, how do we feel after today's brutal loss to the UC Irvine squad?
Well, Willie Bloomquist is going to get fired. I can tell you that. He is gone. I just know that from inside stuff with the team and other people that cover the team. He is going to get fired. The donors do not like Willie Bloomquist. He is going to be out. And
You like
really,
William?
this team at the most top 200 prospects in the Big 12 get bounced by BYU in literally the first round. Fell apart down the stretch, getting swept by Oklahoma State. They lost 3 or 4 to Arizona. Willie Bloomquist was arguably given the most talented ASU team that they've had in the last 10 years, and they somehow messed it up like they have under Willie Bloomquist. I think there's no excuses. This team should have been hosting a regional this year, and things fell apart. You're losing Ben Jacobs, which is going to suck. You're losing Jacob Tobias. You're losing Justin Martinez. This team is losing some big pieces. This was the win now year, and it fell apart.
I will say something that I never really got an answer on, and I don't know how public it was, but for that Big 12 tournament, they did not get into Texas until 4 o'clock the day before their game. And they had that, the game started at 9 a.m. local time, which would have been 7 a.m. Arizona time.
No
I
excuses. This is D1 baseball. There's no excuse
Well,
for that to
100%.
happen.
It's just something that like it just kind of struck me as odd because U of A had been there for I want to say 4 days before that because they were playing in Houston. And, I walked in behind the team, directly behind them going into Globe Life for the practice. And I overheard Kien say that they had gotten to the hotel and went straight to the stadium. Just like I feel like there just was a lot that just wasn't put together on that team this year, and that's just kind of like the most blatant example of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll speak my mind loud and proud about this too. Willie Bloomquist, man, I have not been a fan. I grew up watching ASU baseball my entire life. Obviously, being a Giants fan, Barry Bonds has been my idol for years now. I mean, come on. But like when Willie was first handed this position, I was optimistic about how well this squad was going to perform. Then not going to the NCAA tournament was a huge blow for 2 years. Didn't even think we were going to make it this year. Going into regionals, getting bounced first round. There's no reason Arizona should have even been in the LA regionals. I mean,
They got
this is
lucky. They got it. They backed
they
in.
got lucky. They shouldn't have even received a ranking coming out of the regionals. It was insane. I was very surprised. I thought Willie Bloomquist was going to make something of this chance. Arizona getting completely shut down by UCLA and then being horrendously humiliated too by UC Irvine in this last game today was absolutely brutal. There's no excuses. This is a team that's had so much talent. The pitching was kind of on point this whole year. I know they were off to a shaky start early on. Figuring some of the stuff out, I think that Willie wasn't able to put together the best lineup to succeed this year.
It
I
was the
just
pitching, though. The line
I
offense was fine.
exactly, and that's what I
It's the
stand by.
story of Willie Bloomquist, though.
Arizona State
He's
was the top 10 school in batting average too, coming into the NCAA tournament. There was no excuse that the hitting shouldn't have been able to keep up, and they did. However, I think that the pitching blew it. Carlos did not do or sorry, Carlo. Oh my gosh, someone help me.
Cole Carlone.
Cole Carlone, thank you. Cole Carlone looked a little rough. Justin Martinez looked a little rough as well. I mean, we saw bad stretches too from a lot of the bullpen guys that have been, really strong this year for us. And I was very disappointed to see how ASU performed in the regionals, given this huge, tremendous break that I think they even got coming out of the Big 12 tournament. So overall, I was really surprised to even see them in the regionals. However, I do think that this is a learning point too for the squad. It's going to suck losing a lot of core pieces next year, and I think it's finally time for the team to move on from Willie. I think his time in Arizona State has officially run out.
This is a huge. It's going to be a huge managerial hire. Like they have to get this right with the talent. I mean,
You
ASU
can't mess up
baseball,
with
this
that.
is a legacy school. They have not made the College
Yes.
World Series in almost 20 years. They have to go all in here. You know they're doing the expanded NIL stuff. You worry too with the transfer portal. If Willie does go, how many pieces is this team going to lose? But
Too many.
they're losing Ben Jacobs. He's going to be a second round pick. Brandon Compton might get drafted. He might go back to school. He did not have a good season. I, Nick, you've obviously you were there at the Big 12 championship. The players love Willie. It's just that he may be a player's manager, but it just did not work out at ASU with the talent he was given.
Yeah, and I mean, there's going down the list of guys who can get drafted. Isaiah Jackson did so much for his draft stock these last couple weeks of the season.
One of
Had
the
it
better
won
players.
like 10
Yeah.
homers in 14 games. Kian Vu, I'm 50-50 on if he goes or not, just because he missed so much time this year with injury. But
You'd think
when he
he
was
will
on
come
the
back
field,
for another year.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
yeah, my biggest fear is there is a lot of solid freshman talent on this team that might leave if Willie goes. Like the big guys, Landon Hairston, all Big 12 honors
Matt
as a
King.
freshman.
Yeah, Matt King.
Matt King's a senior. He's gone
So,
anyways.
not Matt King. There's another
Jax
freshman
Ryan,
I'm blanking on.
Jax
Jax
Ryan,
Ryan.
Jax
Max
Ryan's a dog.
Mauser
Well,
too.
Cole Carlon too. Cole Carlone. Like this is a big time, freshman. He's going to the Cape League to hit. This is a guy you don't want to lose.
Oh yeah,
Another
dude.
guy too, Max Mauser, ace,
Beckett
former.
Zavorik. Like these are guys you don't want to lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Harrison will stay just because he went to Castile High School. He's a local guy.
Local guy. Yeah.
Yeah, but like Beckett, I don't think is local. Jax, I know isn't local. Carlone is. Carlone went to Cornet del Sol, but it's all these guys. Carlone needs to be the starting first baseman next year. I think that his
That's
I can
crazy to
see
say
him
because he
being
pitched this year. He didn't even hit last year or this year.
cool. I can see him though. Like you just look at his frame and you know that there's pop in there.
It's also so
Like,
hard. I mean, dude, it's so hard to go from a pitcher to a hitter versus pitcher versus a hitter to a
Well, he
pitcher.
was a two-way in high school.
No,
Just
of
yeah,
didn't get
course,
to
he
hit
but
this year.
it's so much different going from, your 6A high school squad to your Division 1 baseball team.
But I'm sure that he still went around and was hitting behind the scenes.
This is not
Like
like an LSU Todd moment. This is not what this is for Carlos Carlone. I think that he stays as a pitcher. I would be like to see him hit maybe, but
no, there was already talk. I'm drawing a blank on who it was, but there was one of the WCSN reporters was saying that they were at one of the points when Tobias was in like his dead, like he just could not hit anything. There was a point that there was conversation of Carlone starting at first base
Tobias
this
had
year.
a bad year. He did not
He
have a
did.
good senior year.
Yeah, it was. I think it was during the Kansas series is
yeah.
when I was there that Saturday night, and I overheard someone say Carlone legitimately might start tomorrow at first base. So there was already talk of it, which is why I'm saying, and that honestly might play a part of a factor if he stays or not, is if they let him play both ways.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, when Willie took over this team and how much I've seen this Arizona State team kind of just keep failing a lot.
Underachieving every single
Yeah,
season.
it was heartbreaking. Growing up as an ASU baseball fan for college baseball, it was heartbreaking to see how hard this team fell apart with Willie Bloomquist. Granted, I understand that players love him. I'm more than aware of that. I do think it's time that he moves on. I think the manager aspect is going to be important to fill this year.
Who are they going to hire? That's going to be a
Exactly.
big hire.
And if you're Arizona State, man, this is the decision that's going to make or break the program for the next,
Is it going to be an
in my
ASU
eyes,
guy?
10 years, 10, 15 years, that this can make or break the program with the next manager. Because if you can't start building now with a good manager, then you're not going to build at all.
Now I have a hire, maybe just because it's biased, but I work for the Lakeshore Chinooks. Michael Moreno coaches at Queen Creek High School, played on the 1998 Sun Devils team that went to the College World Series. Obviously managed a phenomenal Queen Creek High School team. He's currently managing a collegiate summer ball team in the Northwoods League. I would think he might get a call on it, like, bringing in a guy, he's a no BS manager, put together a very successful high school program. Does he move up to the D1 level? That's the question. I've started to get to know him. He's a great guy.
Yeah,
He is a hard, he's not going to put up with BS as a manager. And
he's a
he
hard
does have that
ass.
ASU. He's a hard ass, but he doesn't have an ASU connection, which I think is really strong, and that
No,
could be an option. I do think Willie Bloomquist being an ASU guy, they might go out of the ASU circle for this next manager if there is a new manager, but. I don't know. Can we think of any names? I don't think there's anyone coming from
I don't.
professional leagues to do it, but like
I
I
don't
don't
think
think Dustin
so.
Pedroia would do it. I don't think
I
Pedroia would
think
want to or would get hired. I mean,
I think another person too that's on my mind is so Max Miles is currently a freshman right now for the Arizona State squad. He's a pitcher who came out of Highland High School, my former alma mater. His father, however, though, has experience in the program. He used to be an ASU alumni, played ball there, was also a pitching coach for a while there. I think that he has a very strong connection too to the Arizona State squad. He went to go coach for Highland High School baseball as well. He's coaching varsity over there, as far as I'm aware. I think he's a hitting coach now. But he's a person that I think is of interest. I know there's been talks back when I played that he was thinking about going back for a little bit, seeing what's up. And personally, I think that that's another great person to look into. I know the Queen Creek coach you're talking about. I played against him way more times than I can count back when I played baseball in high school, and he was I saw how much of a hard ass he can be. But I mean, I don't think
they
that's a
might
bad
need
decision.
that
I
though.
he was doing I didn't even know he was doing college stuff either, which is kind of funny.
He is, which could be, his signal that maybe he wants to move up to the college level. He's still a pretty young guy, but maybe ASU needs a hard ass. Willie was a
Yeah.
player's coach. Maybe you need to, fire these guys up, get a more no BS guy, like a Vanderbilt guy, something like that. A high level coach who's not going
Oh,
to put up with nonsense,
speaking
like
of
a Tim
Vanderbilt,
Corbin.
speaking of
They
Vanderbilt,
just got
what
bounced,
happened?
but
What happened? First ever time that a number one seed got bounced out of the regionals, and by who other than Wright?
they got revenge from yesterday or 2 nights ago.
I can't believe it. Wright bounced Vanderbilt. It's an insane statement to say. I think all of us can vouch growing up, Vanderbilt was the school for baseball. And I don't know. I think it was insane to see that happen. But overall, I think for Arizona State, figuring out the manager role, it's going to be intense. And I think the biggest question is obviously, do you keep Willie or do you hire someone else? Granted, I know in this case it might look good for Willie that they made regionals, but also not being able to fully make the tournament. I think it's inexcusable for Willie to go so long without even making it.
And I almost feel like if they're going to stay in state and hire a high school coach like that, I think they're going to go after Matt Denny down at Castile. The
Still,
program that they've built down there, and they're already going to have, that's where Landon Hairston, he was fed through that system. Castile's won, what, 3 titles in the last 5 years or something
too.
Them and
like that.
Queen Creek are the top two teams. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like you've
so is
even,
uh so is what is it? Williamsville High School and the Higley Knights. They've been the top four consistently in high school baseball around Arizona over the last 5 years. Higley, I think, took it this past year. But
Corona del Sol.
was it Corona? I think it was them, and they played both each other in the finals. Then I think is what it was.
where did
No,
Brophy go?
who?
Brophy.
What do you mean?
Brophy is
Trophies?
epitomized for having crazy amounts of talent and doing nothing with it.
Yeah.
They
Also,
beat Queen Creek in the
everybody, a
playoffs. I
little
know
off
that.
topic. How excited are we for Devin Fitzgerald's announcement to his school? I think he said July 19th is when it's gonna be.
That's a Brophy guy, yeah.
Yeah, Brophy, Larry Fitz Legend's son, will be announcing his commitment to what high school or what college he wants to play for. One of them being Arizona State. We'll see, but keeping things on baseball.
I don't know. He's got a little bit of his dad's name to him. I mean, he's an incredibly talented kid, but
Watch him
He's a
go to U of
five-star
A.
recruit, man. He's a five-star recruit.
no, he's a 3 star.
No, he was a four-star.
Devin is not a 5 star.
No, he was a four-star entering this year, moved to a five-star. I'm almost
Devin
sure
is
of it.
not a 5 star.
If he's not a five, he's still at a four.
I'm fairly certain he's a 3.
Let's stay on topic. But yes or no, going around is Willie Bloomquist getting fired? Yes or no?
24/7 has him as a 3 star.
On 360 has him as a four.
24/7 is the top one. They're supreme.
Is Willie getting fired? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, I think he's getting
I
fired.
don't know. I'm split on it.
I think it happens. I think that you go back and forth with the decision. Oh my gosh, Willie made regionals. Oh my gosh, though he's also still
It was a
hasn't brought it
soft
back.
regional. This team had a really soft schedule, and they barely managed to make a regional. They lost three or
Shouldn't have
four
even made the
to
regional. It's
Arizona.
unacceptable to say that getting bounced from the first round out of the Big 12, you make a regional and get ranked four. That is insane.
I think if
Yeah,
he does, if
not good.
something does happen with it, it'll happen either tomorrow or
Oh, it's
Tuesday.
happening tomorrow. If he's getting fired,
Yeah.
it's tomorrow because the portal opens tomorrow. He's
Yeah.
gone tomorrow. We'll find out
We'll
tomorrow.
keep everybody updated. But guys, I think that kind of ran out of time.
Yeah. But hey, this was a fun virtual one. It sucks Avery couldn't join us. I mean, hopefully we're going to do this every single Sunday night. But yeah, any final thoughts before we wrap this up and go to bed?
D-backs are sweeping the Braves in Atlanta. That's my hot take for today.
Let's go,
I
San
mean, you guys have
Francisco.
played some crazy games there.
We have never forget the Madison Bumgarner
Seven
seven
inning
inning
no
no
hitter.
hitter.
Yeah.
Oh my
Mad
God.
Dog, my favorite. Never forget the time, too. Back in 2012, the San Francisco Giants absolutely annihilated the Braves. We don't got to talk about it. But also, San Francisco Giants, they're going to finish second this year in the National League West, hold a wild card spot. Straight dubs, back to the torture. Also, Kendrick Consistent performed at Oracle Park and it was sold out. So thank you to them.
Well, we thank you for listening into the senior circuit via Zoom. We'll be back next Sunday night. Hopefully, our teams play well. Maybe they won't. Maybe the D-backs will get swept. Maybe they will sweep. Who knows? But anyways, for Kai Jengabis, Nicholas Monti, I'm Wyatt Ballmeyer. Saying goodnight, and we will see you in a week.